Bringing you analysis and insight into the Crimson Tide. Your Crimson Cover hosts, John Copeland, Mike Parker, and Chase Goodbread. Sponsored by Alabama Credit Union. And now, Crimson Cover.
Welcome into Crimson Cover Television on WVUA, Alabama's home team. I'm Chase Goodbread of NFL.com, along, as always, with Big John Copeland from the 1992 National Championship team. Mike Parker, our recruiting analyst. He's got some recruiting news coming a little bit later in the show. Lots to get into. We begin, however, with a preview of the Alabama-Texas A&M game. We're going to be recapping Alabama's win over Arkansas this past season. We will go around the SEC, as we always do. Some big news around the league this week. We'll get into that. Some recruiting news, as I mentioned. And our Week 7 picks, Mike Parker still in the lead at the midway point of the season.
Parker is on fire.
Parker out front with the picks. Nobody made up any ground last week, as we know. We'll see if we can get that done at the end of the show.
Not going to happen, good bro.
Here this evening. Starting, though, with a preview on Alabama, Texas A&M. Of course, it's a matchup of two top 10 teams, two teams battling to get on top in the SEC West. Texas A&M unbeaten, Alabama once beaten, and it's over in College Station. Not an easy place to play, a very noisy venue. John, we'll start talking Texas A&M offense versus the Alabama defense. A lot of people, and I agree, feel like the game's going to be won or lost with that A&M offense versus Alabama defense matchup. The passing game of the Aggies is phenomenal. I think their wide receiving core is even better than Ole Miss's, and that's saying a lot.
That's saying a lot, and I think you're telling the truth. The thing is, and I don't understand why Alabama have so much trouble with these types of offense, but they do. I don't know. And plus, having an inexperienced secondary back there. Now, with that said, those guys have gotten a whole lot better than what they were in the beginning of the season. But for whatever reason, we just can't get it right against a team that spread the ball all over the field and do the hurry-up offense. I think a lot of that have to do with not being able to get substitution. I think a lot of that have to do with not being able to get the right package at the right time on the football field in the right situations.
Kyle Allen having a fine year at quarterback for Texas A&M in his first full year as a starter. Of course, last year he replaced Kenny Hill after Alabama's 59-0 win. That was the end of Kenny Hill. Yeah. Alabama pretty much killed Kenny Hill's Texas A&M career. In the next game, Kyle Allen was inserted as the guy, and he's having a fine year this year, Mike. It's a different team, I think, with him at the helm.
Completely. He's a very smart player. He can make all the throws. Doesn't turn the ball over. He's got 13 touchdowns, 2 picks, over 1,200 yards. And who's he throwing it to? Like you said, the best wide receivers in the country. I don't even think Ole Miss is good, but these guys they have more of them. You got 2 speedy guys in Speedy Norwell and the true freshman Christian Kirk, who
he's a leading receiver.
He's got like 900 yards total for the season already.
Who in the world would have thought that a true freshman wide receiver could go into A&M where they already got a ton of receivers and be the #1 guy? That's unbelievable.
You got to be that good, and he is. He's 5'11", 200 pounds, but the kid can fly. They get him the ball in every kind of way: punt, kickoff return. They line him up in the slot. They line him outside. They'll line him at running back.
A lot of time in the slot.
And then to complement those 2 guys, they've got 2 huge guys, Ricky Seals-Jones, who's 6'5", 240, and then they've got Josh Reynolds, who's 6'4". And A&M will play a lot like Ole Miss. They will throw those 50-50 balls up because they have confidence in their wide receivers. They will do that.
You beat that kind of offense by getting pressure on the quarterback, making the quarterback extremely uncomfortable. You send pressure when he's not expecting it, and you show pressure and drop everybody back in coverage and just try to confuse this kid. You're not going to be able to set back there in zone or set back there in man-to-man and play these guys and defend them guys like that. You're going to have you got to attack the quarterback. Don't worry about the receivers. Attack the quarterback, make him make the mistakes.
Tough to do, though, because they get it out so quick.
True.
I do think A&M, and Nick Saban alluded to this earlier this week, they are making a little bit more of an effort with the running game to be balanced. But at the end of the day, they got to keep a lid on Christian Kirk. He leads the team in catches. I think he's already got 32 catches. Plays a lot of slot, which means he's going to be matched up a lot with Minkah Fitzpatrick, the nickel back. The nickel guy always ends up pretty much taking the slot guy.
That's what will stay in probably the entire game. And I think another big factor, if Allen struggles, which he could, I've seen him struggle before, and someone will replace you. If they put true freshman Kyler Murray in, that kid could be the weakness to Alabama because he can absolutely fly. I mean, he can fly and he can pass it. He's not as good a passer as Allen, but he's as elusive as a quarterback in the entire country if they put him in there. And that may be a formation to where they get their running yards, running the option with him. If they can't run the ball, they might attack the perimeter with him.
Alabama offense versus Texas A&M defense. So we're going to flip the script here a little bit and talk about that side of the ball. John, the Crimson Tide up front on the offensive line still don't quite seem to be fully gelled, still a little bit inconsistent, but the identity with the power running game still seems to be coming around a little bit.
It's my opinion that the best Alabama defense in this football game is going to be a really good time of possession Alabama offense. The best way to beat a Texas A&M offense that want to get as many plays as they possibly can is don't allow them to be on the football field. Win the time of possession, run, pound the football, eat up yardage, eat up field position, and force them to go the length of the football field. That's how you beat a really good hurry-up offense.
One key matchup, Mike, for sure. Alabama left tackle Cam Robinson, one of the best in the business, but also a guy who's been limited by injuries. He's really not playing at 100%, I don't think, versus Myles Garrett, one of the best pass rushers in college football anywhere. For sure, I think Alabama needs to be able to run the ball straight at Garrett as much as possible because that's not his game. He's an upfield rusher type guy. I don't think he holds the point against the run quite as well. Whereas if Alabama throws it, 30, 35, even more times, that sets up for Myles Garrett to make a bigger impact on this game.
Couldn't agree with you more. Run it straight at him, bootleg around him, quick pass. Don't let him have time because against that matchup in pass coverage, a dinged-up Cam Robinson, as good as he is, I got to give the favor to Myles Garrett on that. I think he can win that battle. And
I think you guys said it. The best way to beat a really good pass rusher is to run the football straight at him.
Right.
You take away what he does best.
Absolutely. We'll see if the Crimson Tide offensive game plan includes some run action straight at Myles Garrett, probably in order for sure. It's going to do it for this segment on Crimson Cover. When we come back, we're going to recap Alabama's win over Arkansas and plenty more. You're watching Crimson Cover Television on WVUA, Alabama's home team.